I'm Jen, and this is Prague, the heart of Europe and my adopted home. Subscribe to get an American's take on this enchanting city and all things Czech. Welcome to the adventure.
Do you know when you've bought a new shirt and it fits really well and it looks really nice on you and everyone gives you compliments, but it's got this tag in it and it just itches the crap out of you? And if you try to cut it, it's just going to itch you more. And if you actually try to pick it out, you're just going to make a hole in the shirt. So you just have to learn to live with it. That's sometimes what it feels like to be an American living in the Czech Republic. Overall, it's a great experience, but there are these little things that just annoy the heck out of Americans who live here. They're the little itchy tags of daily life living in this country. If you want to know what it's like to be a foreigner living in Prague, Czechia, then you're definitely going to want to subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to hit the bell so you get notified each week when I make a new video. Czechs say no a lot when they mean yes.
No.
It's not that they're trying to send you mixed messages, but the Czech word for yes is ano. And Czechs love to shorten things.
No.
Ask any Czech a question and you'll likely have to double back to see if that was a no or a no. This can have catastrophic consequences at the úřad, or the government offices, because the people who work there are legally forbidden to give you any indication like a head nod or a smile to reassure you that you filled out your paperwork properly.
No.
You didn't. Speaking of submitting paperwork, the official size for Czech paper is just a smidgen off from the official size for American paper. In the US, we use 8.5 by 11 inch paper, and in Czechia, they use 8.25 inches by 11.75 inches, and no, I don't know that in centimeters. Why is this a problem for us? Because as Americans, we still have to send paperwork back to the United States, like taxes and contracts and various applications. So we literally bring home from the United States reams of 8.5 by 11 paper just in case we need to print on it while we're in Europe. This pet peeve of mine forced me to do a little research, and I discovered that the United States and Canada are the only two countries using 8.5 by 11 paper. Typical. This also forces us to buy a different envelope size for our American paper and for our Czech paper. And if we try to send those American envelopes through the Czech Postal Service, the lady will scowl, bring out her ruler, consult her colleagues, and finally give us her decision as to whether or not she will let us mail our envelope.
No.
Obviously, all things metric are going to rub Americans the wrong way. I've been here already for 9 years, and I can honestly say that the only unit of measurement in metric that I'm comfortable using is kilometers when I'm walking, because I never walked in America and I've become a runner since I moved to Prague, and so I know exactly how I feel after 1 or 3 or 5 or 10 kilometers. But when I'm driving, kilometers still trips me up, because when you're in the United States, the approximate speed limit is 60 miles per hour on the highway, and there are 60 minutes in an hour, so if the sign says it's 35 miles until your exit, you know it's going to take 35 minutes to get there. Easy. Here the speed limit is much faster, it's around 80 miles per hour, and the kilometers are a much shorter distance, so when my sign says that my exit is 35 kilometers away, that could be like 10 minutes, and I'm constantly checking to see how far I've gone so I don't miss it. Recipe measurements are a pain in the ass because all of my recipes are in English, and so they're measured in like ounces and cups and quarts. And if I'm searching online for recipes, I'm usually looking in English, so all of those recipes are going to be in cups and quarts and ounces. But when you're shopping in Prague, all of the cans or packages are going to be listed in grams or fractions of a liter. So I'm constantly like on my phone in the store trying to make conversions. Also, all of the measurement tools that I own are cups and quarts and ounces and things like that. And so if I do have a Czech recipe book or a magazine, I have to convert it all back. Cooking temperatures are also annoying because I intuitively know what Fahrenheit temperature to bake cookies or bread or whatever. And so I have like this little chart on the side of my fridge that does the conversions for me, but I still haven't learned the exact Celsius conversion. Speaking of temperatures, I simply cannot intuitively know what a certain Celsius degree feels like outside. Until the day I die, 32 degrees will be freezing, and here 32 degrees is bikini weather. I try to set the weather app on my phone so I could sort of like start to feel what, 16 degrees Celsius feels like, and it just never works for me. I end up just leaning out the window to see what the people on the street are wearing and just like dressing accordingly. It probably doesn't help that I grew up in Southern California, where when it's 69 degrees, there's a warning. Everybody should bring in their cat for the night so they don't freeze to death. 0 degrees Celsius and negative 20 degrees Celsius all seem like the same kind of hell to me. American daylight savings and European daylight savings are inexplicably 2 weeks off. Why? So far this year, I've been late to 3 Zoom calls because New York is suddenly 6 hours behind instead of 7. Just for the next 2 weeks. Why do Czechs use a comma to denote a fraction of a number rather than a decimal point? And a decimal point in place of a comma. This can get really confusing when you're doing your taxes in 2 different countries, like we as Americans are forced to do. Here's how these numbers look in 2 different countries. 4,567 and 89 cents. I just realized I don't know how to say cents in Czech. Helmer? What? How would you read that number in Czech? Will you tell me in the comments below? Anyway, you can see my confusion. It turns out half the countries in the world use this system and half the countries in the world use this system. And guess which groups Czechia and the United States fall into? Of course. You can also separate the 1000th column from the 100th column by a space, but that just seems like kind of lazy. Now my phone has some new updated software and it's in on the conspiracy to drive me insane and putting commas where there should be decimal points just because I happen to live in the Czech Republic. Speaking of keyboards, since I bought my computer with an English keyboard, I had to install the internal Czech keyboard so I could get all of these lovely decorations that I don't know how to pronounce. But the Czech keyboard inexplicably switches Z and Y. Why? Do you not like one of these letters? You seem to use them way more than is necessary. And now that I'm all fired up, where the hell did you put the zavinač? For my non-Czech viewers, the zavinač is the @ symbol. And for my Czech viewers, I have no idea why English speakers have named the @ symbol so uncreatively. This becomes a problem when I'm working on another computer, like when I was working at a school, or when I'm at Copy General and I need to sign into my Gmail account. I literally couldn't figure out where the zavinač was, and so I would just like scroll to some website and I would search down for their contact information and copy the @ symbol and then go back to Gmail and paste it there so I could write my own email address. The more research I did, the more I realized that the United States was the outlier in a lot of these problems. We don't use the metric system. We have funky-sized paper. But when you grow up in that environment for, your whole life and then you move to a very reasonable country like the Czech Republic, it's sometimes hard to fit in. These little annoyances certainly shouldn't discourage you from visiting or even moving to the Czech Republic. Just know that it's going to take a little while for you to get used to them. Don't forget to check out some of my other videos if you're interested in what it's like to be a foreigner living in this wonderful country. Tak, uvidíme se příští týden. Ahoj!